It's so good and flavorful. It's pork, right? And tonight, I wanted to introduce you to a few regional meats here in the Philippines. That doesn't mean that this is the only place you can get some of this stuff, but in some cases, this is where it's very popular and where it's made. The first thing I wanted to introduce you to is longanisa. Longanisa is essentially pork that has been stuffed into a casing, which is usually made out of intestine. And sometimes, depending on how homemade it is, you can find these strings still holding the ends of the casings together. Sometimes they're sold in very long strings. Other times they're sold in sort of like this, in nugget form, without the strings. So this I actually picked up from Vegan when I was there. And Vegan, well, let me back up. Longanisa is known to be different depending on what region of the Philippines you get it in. So for instance, here in like the Manila area, it may be sweeter and plumper and less garlicky, whereas in Vegan, you're gonna find it's a lot more garlicky and a little less sweet. So that's what we have here. So here we go. We're gonna try this. Now, when I got this, it was uncooked. And I want to tell you how hard it was, because this stuff does smell really good when it's cooking. To not snack on this and ruin the surprise for myself. I will say, it's very garlicky, it's very good. It's definitely not what I was expecting. When I first started out with these, they were about twice the size of what they are, and a lot of fat cooked out of them. And it smelled really, really good. And don't get me wrong, this is good, but not nearly as good as what I was expecting, based on the smell. So this was picked up at a shop in Vegan that sold Royal Babinka. And don't get me wrong, this is good, but I really do prefer the sweet stuff. Speaking of, here I have an example of what I was talking about what you get sometimes in Manila. Now, this is actually from Cebu, but because Manila is kind of like a giant melting pot of all kinds of different cultures from all around the Philippines, you can get some really cool stuff from different areas. So this is the sweeter stuff. And as you can see, when I cooked this, it didn't really cook down nearly as much as the stuff from Vegan. Also, I noticed that there wasn't nearly as much fat in the pot, but it did kind of make the pan kind of sticky, because it is so sweet. So let's go ahead and taste this. Oh my goodness, this is the stuff. I will admit, because I knew what I was in for with this, I did snack on quite a few of these while I was cooking them. So these also, they come in strips because of the shipping. I actually, I got these not only in a string, but also in a plastic bag. But the strings, I will say, came off a lot easier on these than they did on the ones that I got from Vegan. Next, we have something kind of interesting, something that I've never seen before, ever. This is homemade Spam. I did not know that it was even possible or that anyone would have interest in making homemade Spam until I stopped by an area that had like farmer-run stalls, and essentially the person running the stall was all like, "Yeah, we got Spam," and I was shown something that essentially, imagine this, but all in one tube, kind of like a single tube of sausage. So yeah, this is what homemade Spam looks like. I've obviously fried it because that's the way that I prefer Spam when I have it. So let's go ahead and try this. Actually, that's a good point. I actually have one of these still frozen, so I can show you what this looked like before I cooked it. I gotta say, honestly, this does not taste like Spam in a can. It tastes like a million times better. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's my favorite thing in the world, but like if someone gave me an option between this and Spam in a can, I'll take this every single time. All right. So here, last, definitely not least, these are two of my favorite kinds of meat that you can find here in the Philippines. This is what I have, but let me know in the comment section down below if there's something that I should try or share with the audience in the future. I doubt that I'll be doing a follow-up to one of these, but maybe in another video. So over here we have something called Tapa. This is usually a beef product, dried and or cured beef, and it's usually, there's spices and things added to it. And then over here we have Tocino. Tocino is one of my favorites because it's usually very sweet. It's a pork product, though I have seen, like, for instance, chicken Tocino and things like that. And it's kind of sticky, but it's not crazy sticky. It's so hard to explain, but it's very sweet. Usually it's got a red tint or tinge to it. It's almost like a glaze. It's really good. There's not like a great story behind these two. So I actually got these again from a local farmer, similar to what I did with the Spam. So this is the first time that I've had this and it wasn't bought from a store or a restaurant. Let's see what it tastes like. Holy crap! And that's not just for the camera, that's freaking good! Holy freaking crap. So, Tapa is often served alongside rice, as most of these meats that I've shared with you are. They're usually served next to rice, and the great thing about Tapa is it usually comes in very small pieces, so you can mix it in with the rice, and you can get usually like a bite that has both rice and Tapa in it. And there's also this sort of thing here in the Philippines where you can take different ingredients, like for instance, Tocino, egg, and rice, and you end up with like Tocino, or Tapa, egg, and rice, and you get Tapsilog. And each one of those little bits, for my audience who doesn't know, actually means one of those ingredients. So you've got like Tapa, egg, and rice, so you end up with Tapsilog. Actually, I think I have those ingredients in the wrong order, but still! Alright, so next thing we have to try is the Tocino. Now, Tocino is another one of those things that it varies depending on where you get it, who cooks it, what recipe is followed. It can be a very sort of like just a general glaze like this, or it can stain the entire meat like a red color. Usually the redder ones are the ones I like because they tend to be sweeter. But let's go ahead and give this a taste. Okay, all right. This one's really good because it's sweet and it's light. I don't know. It just got a light, joyful flavor, whatever that means. That's probably the best way I can describe it, but I know it doesn't mean much. How about this? It doesn't thicken my saliva. You know how sometimes you taste something and it's sweet and it just makes like all your mouth feel all gunky? This doesn't do that. It's really nice. Okay, I can't stop eating. As much as I would love to sit here and eat the rest of this, actually there are other projects that this food is going to go into, but since I figured I was cooking it all up at the same time, I figured I would do a side-by-side tasting and comparison and explaining, because it's not very often that you find all of these things cooked at the same time, at least not in this household. I hope this video's been helpful for you. I hope it's meant something to you. If it has, let me know in the comment section down below. Till next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all those things that make me love my job. Also, be awesome to yourself and amazing to each other. Also, let me know what your favorite kind of longanisa is. Do you prefer the northern like vegan or the southern like Cebu? Bye! Thank you so much for joining me on today's story on my cuento. Be sure to check out one or more of the things on screen now that'll lead you to even more stuff, 'cause it's awesome. Alright, next vlog?